bird, if you notice the hood setting, has a very decent hood, so we're molting, aren't we? But hard, smooth feather, that's a good quality, as opposed to the yellow, which is kind of sloppy, hard, loose, kind of fluffy feather. This is harder, smoother feather, and this came from the Homer type bird. This is racing Homer feather on a Jacobin.
That was my question.
Well, hello?
When you do these projects, do you notice something specifically that comes in?
You got that exactly right. And again, the first bird you pick, rather than bring things in that you're going to have to fight for years and years, I always take extra time to figure out what bird it will be that will be the best cross for the first cross, because that's the most important cross in the project. Always, the most important cross in the project is the first bird. Single most important bird in the project. Fair enough? And then all kinds of stuff can come from that if you get it right at first. And then otherwise you mess yourself up for 5, 10, 15 years like I did with Andalusians. It took 13 years to get to a pigeon that was showable. This one, in 6 generations I'm there, and in the lemons I had them showable in 5. In 7 years I've raised lemon Jacobins this year. I've got 2 of them on the floor now, just out of the nest, that will be competing for the grand trophies at the show, at the Grand National Show. They will be competitive Jacobins for championship awards. And I'm not saying they're going to win, but they will be competing for championship, and nobody will be proud to say, oh my gosh, that's as good a Jacobin as there is in the place. And it will be. And I've got 3 of them on the floor at the moment. And that's how that works. But the first one was the key. Playing with the third part, the mane. I brought a bird here that is, thankfully, the result of teamwork. I showed you a bird with a good chain. This is a bird I had searched. Evan will tell you what happened.
We couldn't find the bird with a bad chain.
Well, I was trying to bring a bird to show you a bad chain, to put it in the box to show you what a bad chain looks like, and
It's not something you want to keep.
I couldn't find one, because that's one of the things I call for. I do not keep a pigeon with a bad chain. But this bird has something on the front. If you're looking at it, it has a layer of feathers and a layer outside of the feather. This is called a shingle. And so you have feathers that go inside and feathers that go outside. So it opens up. It's got a big break between the layers of the feathers. And this one is only because of the mold, and it's because it's a project bird as well. But if you look at the front of this pigeon, it's not that hard, smooth, knife-edge chain down the front. It has a break here, and a break here, and a break up here. And so that 20 points on the chain is really messed up here. So it's not hard and smooth and extending out and perfectly fit. It's all shaggy and raggedy and shingled. And so that's what this bird does. It's shaggy and raggedy and shingled and zigzag in and out. You want hard, perfect line of feather down, forming a nice meat at the bottom, closing the head. But see, it has one line over here, one line here. And so it does have a nice shingle that I can use as a sample of a bad chain. But as we were looking at the rest of the bird, this is a barless Jacobin. It's the 3rd generation, and I have a mealy barless, and I have a blue barless. But guys, there are 2 guys in this room who helped make this happen. These birds don't exist without Bill Griebel and Steve Ball and my friend Bernd Wanke. And the breeder of these particular birds was named Eugen Frey, who developed these from some variety of trumpeter in Germany. But Eugen is about 80 years old at this point, and he introduced barless into Jacobins in Germany. And after 15 or 20 years of breeding them, he had them down to, pardon me, Elaine, capuchin quality. But these birds are now 3rd generation from me, introduced back into Jacobin quality of decent quality Jacobin. But they're both barless. This is a barless mealy and a barless blue. I also have barless brown and barless khaki and barless silver because of how I mated them up. But I have families of birds now throwing barless that are representative quality Jacobins, carrying barless. The barless themselves are not there yet, but the carrying genetic projects are pretty close. But Bill and Steve picked the birds up in Germany, picked the hen, the one that we were able to get, dangerously close to not making it, and allowed, because of Bernd's set up with Werner Reichel's uncle, Eugen Frey, and the interaction between friends of all sorts. These birds exist now in the United States, and they would not have without the extreme extra effort of friendship, quality and character and care and concern I can't give you, lay it on, okay? Of some neat people. Anyway, I get to have some Barless Jacobins, and you get to see them now because I had some help. I'm second generation. I used a South German Shield, crested pigeon, South German Shield. But this is generation 2, going to be saddle marked Jacobins. And this is what second generation birds will look like. This is as much as your Jacobin will have on it at generation 2. So generation 1, they're not saddle marked. They have just a little tiny bit of hood formation. Second generation back, brothers and sisters, to get close to the saddle markings and come back. But it's close enough, and we'll continue on. But in about 3 to 4 more years, I'm hoping to show black saddle Jacobins, red saddle Jacobins. And they will be impressive. They'll be marked, saddle marked. But that's kind of fun. That's the additional project besides raising champions. What else do you want to do?
You could show those in Spanish Jacobins now, Drew.
Yeah, Spanish Jacobins? Midwest? This is a
real
total
primitive
accident. I'm also working on recessive red Jacobins. This is as close to a white side. We do have white side coming, but recessive red didn't exist in Jacobins until we introduced it about 3 or 4 years ago. And at this point, totally by accident, become white side. And so we'll pluck these and the wings will go white. I know it works already. We've tried it on 1 or 2. But obviously in memory of or in honor of Tom McKay, who started the White Side Throwback Project, the same sort of accident, total accident happened with my recessive red Jacobin project. So we have about 4 pair mated up that will be red white side Jacobins eventually. So I'll have black saddle Jacobins and then red and white side, red and yellow white side Jacobins eventually. Have some fun. The third thing happens at the mane on a Jacobin. This is a little thin. The mane is the back part. This one's a little thin on here, so the mane is, needing to be like a glazed donut. This one is not quite. This is a 15-point item. This bird also has a 15-point item for color. Now you're going to look at this and you're going to go, it is, but I'm going to tell you, for a Jacobin, this is great color blue. And you're laughing, all you color pigeons, especially the color, are laughing. You'll say, well, that bird cold. But this is great color for a blue Jacobin. It really is. That's what isn't good color for a blue Jacobin. It's this one. This is not good color on a blue Jacobin. This is called sooty. This is a genetic character called sooty. But the Jacobin, I look at the hood setting, it's real decent. Real decent hood setting, and the bird shows. It gets up on its toes and shows the whole, the program. But the color is terrible, but everything else on the bird is decent. So what we have to do is try to get the quality with decent color on it now.
How many points does the standard allow though for color?
15. The mane is worth 15, color is worth 15, and the station, how this bird stands up. This one shows pretty well. We'll get to that point. But there are 3 15-point items. Station, which has to do with legs and body and how the bird presents itself. Mane is 15 points, and color is 15 points. So you have 2 20-point items and 3 15-point items. And then there's 7 points for markings and 3 for eyes. Paul McNorgan, my mentor at Jacobin, said, they should have no points for eyes, or if they give points for eyes, they should have, Jacobin should have 2 eyes, one on either side of the head. Because when you look at a Jacobin and they want to give 1 point out of 100 for a bull eye. So if a bird has, every other feature you have has 1 bull eye and 1 pearl eye, they want you to deduct a point. Well, imagine this bird with a perfect hood setting and all the wonderful mane and quality and color and all that, and yeah, it's got a bull eye. The old guys used to say, no, we can't show it, it's not a showbird, it's got a bull eye. But it has everything else. And when you raise pigeons that don't have some flaw, our whole idea is that you have pigeons that have, no pigeon is perfect. You're busy fixing them up and trying to make them look perfect. You and your Photoshop, thanks to Lane, I'm thinking, your black, white side, never mind.
Never mind.
But, there's always a flaw in some pigeon. You're not going to have anything. Perfection is what we all strive for, but it doesn't, I don't want to say it doesn't exist, but we're all working for it. That's why we're here. But, color, you got to dock this pigeon probably 10 points for color, so maybe I give it 5 because it is a blue, but the color is terrible. Now, on the other hand, if you want to give color points for the beautiful German color bird, This is blue. And this is nice and clean blue. And the bars coming out of the barless blue pattern from the German stock is gorgeous. This is German color pigeon blue, sort of. Wink. But nice and clean without all the junk and the garbage in it. But you have, you know, pigeons that bring other qualities and characteristics with them. I have a baby here. When I talked about the chain, we're going back and stuff, but I'm going to show you something that I discovered this afternoon. I'm going to show you a baby pigeon. This is about 4 weeks old. But do you see something going on here? This pigeon, the chain is so close, the hood setting is so tight over the top. But this bird, because it knows where the food is in the individual cage with its parents, I'm leaving it alone. It's got full food. But if I were to take this pigeon out of its normal place, my guess is it would be dead in about 5 days, because it wouldn't be able to find it. It can't see forward. The chain is so close on this bird, and the hood over the top completely encloses its head, worse than a Bocara trumpeter, but so much so this bird couldn't find its way through if it didn't already know where the food and water was.
It doesn't even relax in the pen ever?
Not even relax in the pen. This is so tight. Now where's the head? Well, here's the head. But what I'm going to have to do in the next week is take a pair of scissors and cut this one off. If I want this bird to live, I'm going to have to trim this whole side, the whole front of it off, so that this bird can see to find the food and water. So the parents are still feeding it now, but in a week from now, if I don't pay attention, this bird's not going to be alive in a week, because it's just totally enclosed in here. It's like it's got a bell over its head, and it will never be able to find the food and water. But it's a very decent pigeon for some qualities. Good hood setting, nice mane. It's a baby, about 4 weeks old, maybe 4.5 weeks old. It'll bloom out. But, you know, this is not good yet. On the other hand, I brought something here. When I saw this one hit the floor, actually it's still in the babe with the parents. Look at this one.
That's a nice one.
When you see, this is a nice one. When you see a bird like this coming along, your heart starts to race just a little bit. But this is a baby pigeon that does what other pigeons do. But whoa, look how smooth it is. See how nice the chain fits in the front? Hood and top, it's got nice color, nice outline. Everything on this bird is exactly what you want. And so a 5-week-old Jacobin that looks like this gets a little extra attention, a little extra care, and a little extra safflower, I hope. And maybe by January, if this one gets all the way through the mold, this one's going to be a very, very, very good Jacobin pigeon. But this is what a good one looks like at 5 weeks old. A really good one. Now look at the mane. Just look at the mane on the back. You look at the rows. And you look at the hard, smooth feather. Look at the extension of the chain forward. The extension of the upper mane. The hood setting. This bird has every feature you want. Every single one.
So can I buy that?
You can make an offer. You know, this is one of those, you might raise 1 or 2 of these in a lifetime, who knows? But this is what they look like at 5 weeks. And I'm thinking, oh, man, who knows what they'll look like at 6 months? But at 5 weeks, I'm very excited about this pigeon.
Is that color pigeon yellow?
Yes. This is ash yellow, by the way. In Jacobins, the color ash, this is what's called saturated checker. This is a checker pattern. You see the white tips on the feathers? Yes. This is ash red, but this is a checker pattern. And the checker pattern shows itself in the white tip. If the bird had a colored tail, you'd see it on the tail as well. But this is what they call saturated checker, as opposed to dark checker or velvet checker or open checker or light checker. Anyway, the checker pattern intensifies. But because of the saturated checker, that's what this one does. And this is what they look like, the dark, rich reds and yellows in Jacobins, because of the Lebanon bronze and the dark saturated checker. This is what they look like. The difference in that is, here's a recessive red. And you'll notice the recessive red doesn't have the white, it does barely, it's bad tip, but it doesn't have accentuated white tips on it. This is recessive red over ash red. So you can see the ash underneath the recessive red, but the tips are not actually white. They're just not brilliantly red. Fair enough? But this is recessive red as opposed to a dominant ash red. And so you see the difference in the pattern here. The bird splashes out. This is a little bit more of an open checker pattern. This is another project bird, but a particularly good one. This is an open checker. This bird is split the bar, so it's not saturated checker, it's open. But this is a khaki Jacobin. This is created by me. I made these with the help of Fred Mainpup. Fred provided a pigeon that was out of a Norwich cropper, brown bar Norwich cropper with long legs and smooth feather, and whatever, 15, 20 years ago now. At any rate, this bird is a Norwich cropper, but it's as good a Jacobin as there is in its color on the face of the earth right now. She's quite a bird. Anyway, this is a creation. This is made out of something that was not a Jacobin. Another one.
I hate it when that happens.
Nobody's surprised when they do that. I would tell you the preschoolers, when the pigeon they cleaned up, they were all screaming and yelling and pointing and stuff. It was a 5-minute cleanup call, but it was pretty amazing. But this is a khaki Jacobin. This is a 2-year-old hen, but she's quite a piece of work. This is a very good Jacobin. For station, see how tall she shows? She's up now. That's station. That's 15 points. Just body, slim body, and station. But how she shows the feather formation is as important as having it. So having it in the first place is one part of it, but showing it off and giving the full presentation, like look at me, you know, that's the other part of it. So you have to have both. And they give 15 points for station and presentation. Look how this bird shows itself. It's looking at you going, baby. Come on.
It's the Norwegian side of it.
She knows what's. This bird has received a lot of attention, by the way. You could probably figure that out as well. But she's quite a good sample of work. And, you know, as Jacobins go, she's as good as they come. I would say there's better birds than the bird from Germany. And she's got decent, she's getting better. This is two crosses in the real Jacobin. And we got this far in 2 crosses. This one is the reserve champion from the Super Bowl last year. He's got it all. This is the program where you want hood and top and chain and mane and station and everything else on this. This is the second best bird out of 240 at the Super Bowl last January. This is the second place pigeon out of 240 Jacobins. But he's got a bigger, bulkier body than I would like. And if you look at the head, you see the hood setting? It's not as good as I would like. I have birds with a better hood setting than this one does. I have birds with a better hood setting. And I have birds with better station. The khaki hen is better station, and she's got a better hood setting. But this guy has more feather, harder, and better put together than any of the other pigeons. There's one bird out of 240 that beat it at the Super Bowl last year, Super Bowl of Jacobin. But this is a good Jacobin. This has all the parts. And still, it's not perfect, but it's got parts, enough to be able to play and compete internationally. See the racing homer. There's the head. Well, I'm also working on self-marked Jacobins quite accidentally. But if you look at the feather quality of this pigeon, now he's real rough, he's been breeding all the time, but look at the mane on this pigeon. The mane, just the back part, the part that goes to the back. It comes out, it kind of has a bow to it. The feather comes out and it goes around. It doesn't have that straight shot like the yellow one did. The yellow one shoots the feather straight out. This one, it goes out and around, but it has this wonderful body to the feather. This is racing homer feather again for Lane. This is, and look at the mane, they're all clear to the bottom of the mane, all the way up. This is beautiful. It's nice and thick, but that's what a good mane looks like. A real good mane. That's a good mane on a Jacobin. That's 15 points. Color's 15, station is 15, hood and top 20, chain 20. It's a balancing act, though, when you get them all. You've got to get it all together, but that's a very good mane on a Jacobin. Got the standard, got the hood and top, got the chain, got the mane, got the outline, got the body, got the color. What else do you want to know? You've seen samples of each one. Evan?
So if a bird does not have the proper head markings, it gets marked down for color as well, right?
No, it gets markings. Markings have 7 points. It's supposed to have 10 white flights, a white head, and a white tail. On the other hand, did I put one in here? I'm working on self-marked Jacobins. You guys have Gazi Modinas and you have Skitty Modinas. One is self-marked, one is white marked with one. I'm working on creating, and they don't exist yet, only at my house and in my imagination. But I have self-marked Jacobins that are, I brought them. I know I have one.
Yeah, black one.
See, there's no white on this pigeon. There's not a white feather on this pigeon.
Yes.
This is a self-marked Jacobin. She's pretty much Jacobin, but I've got them, you know, a little bit better than this, but I have about 7 or 8 that have no white on them at all. But it's taken me 5 years to get to here with no white on them. But once I have self-marked Jacobins, then I could put any marking I want. I can have magpie marked ones, I can have bell neck marked ones, I could put whatever. But this bird has no white. Jacobin with not a white feather on it. So imagine self-marked recessive red, self-marked black, self-marked almonds. Anyway, they're on the way. And so it is.
Drew, we're gonna have to pass it off. We got a table show.
Question?
How about giving them